I'll put my glasses on. Thank you very much for the introduction, Di. And I would have to echo everybody that's got up so far. Public speaking is terrifying. So hello everyone, and thank you so much for the opportunity to come and talk to you about Toll Road Ready. As Di said, my name is Jacqui Lowe and I'm the Social Sustainability Manager at Transurban. And I was the one tasked with reigniting this program, which had sat dormant for a couple of years before I got to Transurban. So Karen Stefan is our Road Safety Manager. Unfortunately, she was a last minute withdrawal from today. She's based in Melbourne. She sends her apologies, but she has given me some notes on road safety, so I will do my best to relay those messages. And if there's any questions that I can't answer, then Karen can be contacted afterwards. So next slide. Turn this way. Okay, so just this arrow here, yeah. So before I get into the program, I just thought I'd give you a little bit of an overview of Transurban. So we are a toll road company, so we operate toll roads, and our toll roads span 3 countries, so North America, Canada and Australia. So we currently have 22 toll roads under operation. Around 2.6 million trips a day occur on our roads, and we have 11.3 million customers. And our traffic modelling also shows that on a typical work day, we save people around 479,000 hours, which is an astounding number. To give you a bit of an overview of the roads, on the left we have the North American roads, so there's 3 in North America and 1 in Canada. And on the right, I'm assuming that everyone here is from New South Wales, is that correct? Yeah. So on the right, we have our 6 roads. So if you travel to Brisbane, these are some of the roadways that you might encounter in Brisbane. On the left is Melbourne. So we only have 1 road currently in Melbourne, which is the City Link. But if you've seen the news, we've got the new Westgate Tunnel opening probably later this year. On the right is Sydney. So hands up if you're familiar with any of these Sydney assets. Yep, great. So Sydney's where we have most of our assets. So there's 11 roads in Sydney, and we've got there's a new one opening, which is the M7, M12 integration. I'll show you a map in a second of where that is. But that picture there is the Rozelle interchange. Spaghetti Junction, I think, was its nickname. So has anyone driven on that part of the road? Yep. Okay. This is a map of the roads. So all the green roads are the Transurban operated roads, and the others are operated by either the state government or other road operators. So that M7, M12 integration is how we'll be linking the M7 with the M12, which is the road to the new airport. The other thing I wanted to talk about, in New South Wales, there's 2 tolling options. So if you're an older driver in Sydney, you tend to have an e-toll, which is what I've had, and that is the state government tolling system. So that was I was driving pre-Transurban, so I automatically had a New South Wales government e-tag. Of course, since I've come to work for Transurban, I now have a linked account. So linked is maybe a brand name that you're potentially more familiar with than Transurban, and that's simply our customer brand, our tolling brand. So what is Toll Road Ready? So can I just see who actually got on and did the course or recommended the course to students while we're doing the pilot? Great, thank you. So for those of you that are not familiar, it's an online course that's hosted on the platform called Teachable. You can do it on your laptop, on your tablet, on your phone. There's 4 modules, and there's learning quizzes, learning checks, quizzes, and some videos. And it'll take you around 20 to 30 minutes to complete. So what was the catalyst for Toll Road Ready? So as we said, it sat dormant for a little while, but each year Transurban do a community engagement survey. And this is done by an independent consultant. we typically have around 5,000 respondents. And these respondents come from our 6 key stakeholder groups. Now, this is the challenge. I have to try and remember all 6. So when we talk about stakeholder groups, we talk about our customers, we talk about the communities in and around our assets. We have also our business partners, we have government, we have investors, and we have employees. So some people that do the survey will fit into more than one of those stakeholder groups. But what we were hearing consistently across all stakeholder groups is the need for more education on tolling and toll roads for our customers and for people who drive on our roads. So Toll Road Ready was developed as a direct response to hearing this from the community. But we also have a big focus on road safety at Transurban, and we know that this is definitely a cohort that need education on road safety. So you're probably very familiar with the graph on the right, which shows that massive spike in involvement in crashes once people get onto their red Ps. And as an operator of toll roads, we have a real social responsibility to make sure we're doing the best to educate people to bring that number of crashes down. When we started to also talk to learner drivers, we found that a lot of them were avoiding toll roads because they weren't sure how to pay, they didn't feel confident driving on them, and a lot of them feared that they were much more dangerous driving environments. So what we've got from the research is we know that they're actually much safer driving environments than other roads. So we really wanted to instill some confidence in younger drivers to get on those toll roads. So the intent of the program, and you probably can't see this very clearly if you're at the back, but the intent of the program is twofold. So the first is to improve safety through the education of new drivers, but we also wanted to help drivers avoid unplanned tolls and fines. So to develop the program, we wanted to know, first of all, what should that content include? And so we engaged a consultant, Deloitte, and they did a series of discovery workshops with learner drivers to find out what is it that they wanted to know about driving on toll roads. But we also, our road safety team, and Karen was actually, I think, involved in this program with MUARC, which is the Monash University Accident Research Centre. They ran a program called the P Drivers Project. This project involved around 30,000 young drivers between 17 and 22. And so the research from that and the delivery and the development workshops really formed up the basis of the content that we wanted to put into this program. So then I came along to Transurban and, amongst other things, was tasked with getting a project team together. So obviously road safety, we had David Beck, who Diana mentioned before. He was involved, our road safety manager, Karen Stefan, but then also people from across our business. So we had IT, we had customer and technology, we had our communications team, we had a dedicated course writer, we had L&D professionals. So we really were able to bring together a whole bunch of subject matter experts to form this course up. And then once the course started to take a bit of shape, we then went out to some external stakeholders just to check in. So the first group of people that we went to were the government road authorities. So we worked with, in New South Wales, Transport for New South Wales. We also met with Vic Roads, and we worked with TMR in Queensland. And we didn't want to replicate what they were offering their learner drivers, but we did want to make sure that anything we put forward was consistent with what they were saying. And then, very importantly, we wanted some practical feedback on how this course might land. So that's when David Beck was able to introduce us to Diana and the New South Wales Driver Training Association. So we also worked with ADTA and ADTAV. And I've just got to shout out that we worked with Diana and Chris during the forming of this program, and it was just a delight. We had such a great time, and particularly Holly, the content writer, and myself and Karen So we really want to thank you. You so generously gave of your expertise and your knowledge, and a huge part of what this course is about today and how we got this course up is due to the input from you both and the people behind you that also gave us feedback. So thank you very much. Once we'd spoken to the learner driver associations, we then sent it out to the Transurban family. So we had a number of children from Transurban employees doing the course and testing the user experience. Then we finally arrived at a pilot. So we ran a pilot for about 5 weeks. So we had just over 1,000 people complete the course. We did incentivise it. We gave away Prezi fuel vouchers worth $25 to everyone who completed the course. That created a whole new issue for us, and one that I very naively had not expected. But we had many kids trying to set up duplicate accounts to claim extra vouchers. That's what you do, is it? So some of them obviously had a lot of time on their hands. So one of our team members, Emil, was the technology and cybersecurity guru, and he was able to detect that one person had more than 50 attempts at scamming vouchers. I was outraged. I couldn't believe people would do that, and everyone laughed at me. So there was 360 people we think tried to get additional vouchers. We didn't take any action. We knew they were school students because most of them started using their school address with the EDU address, and we suspect they were Year 7 boys. Because there was a 25 in their email address. So at one stage I was so angry I wanted to call the school, but we didn't. We simply paid them all the first voucher. Where there was any doubt, we also paid that. But then where Michael Smith had done Michael Smith 1, Michael Smith 2, Michael Smith 3, etc., right through to 49, we only paid him once. So really great learning for us. And my kids did it as well, but I'm pretty sure they only did it once. So yeah, I was looking through that list. We then got our driver training partners, ARTI, CARI and LTP, and I'll mention those a little later, plus the driver training associations to help us spread the word about the program. So we purposely didn't go far and wide for the pilot because we didn't know what the rate of uptake was going to be, and we had a limited number of vouchers. So we're really cautious just to go a bit slowly so that no one was disappointed to go through the course and there not be vouchers left. From this experience, we really concluded that the $25 incentive was most likely the key driver for uptake for this course. However, we felt the content was important enough, and it's our duty to provide this information. So now we're looking into how we could make it more relevant to that cohort. I'll talk a little bit later about what we're going to do next, but we're basically relaunching the program this week in the same format with a revised incentive structure. So this time, instead of giving everyone who does the course a voucher automatically, people will go into a monthly draw, and each month there'll be 10 $100 Prezi fuel vouchers available. So we'll see how that changes the dynamic. In the meantime, we'll also look at different ways. We're looking at things like TikTok. How can we do small bits of content to really reach this audience in a way that's relevant to them? So for the next few slides, I'll give you a bit of an overview of what is covered in Toll Road Ready. So in Module 1, we look at why you need to be ready to drive on toll roads, the skills and experience you need for toll road driving, and how to tell if you're ready. So we know that learners need to have a basic level of driving skill to be able to do toll road driving, or to be ready to learn toll road driving. So we really encourage people to have done a certain amount of driver training before they embark on toll roads. Module 2 Module 2 is all about tolling, tags and apps. So we covered in this module what is tolling, the different ways to pay, how to use tags and what to do if you forget. And what we really wanted to get across to students in this particular module was the importance of not panicking if you find yourself accidentally on a toll road or entering a tunnel. We encourage you to focus on the driving, to keep going, because we can sort the payment out later. So we really wanted to get that message home to people. We, at Transurban, we have cameras across all of our road networks, so we see some incredible footage from drivers, and I'm not talking about just learner drivers. So when the Rozelle interchange first opened, we had so many people trying to reverse out of tunnels, reverse down on-ramps. Meanwhile, traffic is coming at 80 kilometres an hour in the opposite direction. It is so dangerous. So anyone that gets on a toll road accidentally, if you don't have a tag or an account, we cannot stress enough, please keep going, and you can consider the payment afterwards. Module 3 is all about planning your route and planning toll costs. And the planning of your drive is an important road safety consideration. So we know, particularly for younger, less experienced drivers, if you have planned, allowed plenty of time, you know where you're going, we encourage people to know their exit if they're going to go on a toll road. Know your exit, because you cannot rely on mobile phones and GPS. So we encourage people, plan your route and know where you need to get off. Again, we say if you miss your off ramp, please don't do any sudden lane changes. You simply need to get off the next available the next ramp where you can do so safely. Another thing about planning your drive is you need to take into consideration things like weather and time of day. So if you're planning to drive during peak hour, it's probably quite a different experience to if you're planning to drive sort of midweek during the day. And the other thing is weather. So where we could, we inserted some little videos, because as I said, we've got cameras all across our road network and we see some interesting things. So I've got one video here. I think it's in the next, that we're going to play. So. So no one in any of those videos was seriously injured. We would never show a video in which someone had been seriously injured, but it is a really good visual aid for us to show people some of the things that can go wrong. So really reminding drivers, particularly young drivers, to adjust their driving to suit the road conditions. So then Module 4 is all about road safety. And what we tried to cover in this module was road safety that's specific to motorways, or particularly relevant to motorway driving. So we know that merging and entering toll roads, from the early work we did, we knew that was a big stressor for young drivers. So we tried to provide some tips on how to do that in this course. We also provide tips on driving in tunnels, and a lot of people fear driving in tunnels. They're actually one of the safest road environments, and we know this through research. So when I was talking to Karen, and this is probably where I'd hand over to Karen about now, we know that tunnels are much safer than other motorway environments, probably for the three reasons: that they're designed, the way that they're designed, the constant monitoring. So there's even a greater sort of intensity of camera coverage in tunnels, and also the fast incident response times that we have in tunnels. So we know they're one of the safest environments. So we really wanted to get that message across to young drivers, not to fear them, but when they're ready to embark upon learning how to drive in them. Other things covered in this module was how to deal with pressure from other drivers, sharing the roads with trucks, and we do include a video on truck blind spots, and I know Jerry mentioned blind spots. It's a really interesting topic. Even a lot of very experienced drivers are simply not aware of truck blind spots. So we actually do a fair bit of marketing and campaigning around truck blind spots as well. In this module, we also cover what to do in an emergency. It's so critically important that you stay in your car. We will usually be with you in under 8 minutes, and I have a video of that as well. And then the last part of this module is about exiting toll roads. And again, we encourage people, if you miss your exit, you miss your exit. Please drive safely until you can safely cross into the exiting lane. So this is definitely where I would have handed over to Karen and Stefan. But let's see how I go with the road safety. So Transurban have adopted what's called the Safe Systems approach, and you'll see in this diagram on the right there are the 5 key pillars. So 3 of them, if we think about safe roads, safe speeds, and the post-crash care and incident response, they're things that we have quite direct control over. However, the other 2, safe people and safe vehicles, they're things that we have lesser control over, but however, we try and have influence over through things like partnerships and marketing awareness campaigns. So next, I have an example of some of these. So we currently have 3 driver training partners. In New South Wales, we have CARI. In Queensland, we have the ARDI Driving School. And in Victoria, we have the TAC L2P, or the Transport Accident Commission L2P program. So in FY25, we supported those 3 learner driver programs with over $250,000 in grant money. We also support community grants. So again, in FY25, we chose 49 community organisations to offer grants to, which totalled more than $430,000. And a lot of those community grants go to organisations that are also addressing road safety concerns. So one example that comes to mind is a company that is accepting donations of child restraints and booster seats, making sure that they're safe, and then providing them to families who simply can't afford new ones. These are some examples of the road safety campaigns. We cover a wide variety of topics, and you'll see the one on the right is the truck blind spots. It's a really big one for us. We have a lot of trucks on our roads. That is intentional because we also take them off local roads, but it does mean that they're on our roads. So people really need to be aware of truck blind spots. I have another video about truck blind spots a little later. So these are the 3 pillars of the safe systems approach that we can influence, and the safe roads is probably the key one. So we know what makes up a safe road. So we know things like good sight lines, clear signage and line marking, roadside barriers, also the removal of any roadside hazards. And we also know that maintaining roads well is also important for safe roads. Safe speeds is all about setting appropriate speed limits, and that's not just for the road but also for the conditions. So we have the variable speed signs, so we can adjust those speed limits according to what's happening on the roads at the time. And then the incident response. So it's well known that if you have a crash, the timely response can really have a massive impact on the outcomes for anyone that's injured. So we have eyes on the road 24/7, and maybe if you're on a toll road now, you might have a glance upwards and you will see cameras absolutely everywhere. So we cover all of our network with cameras. And we also have the RMS and TMS. So this is the roadside monitoring messaging system and the tunnel messaging systems. So the great thing about these is we can control them from the control room, so we can provide messaging to our customers in real time. And we had an incident in a tunnel just last week where a gentleman broke down. He was able to get into one of the emergency bays. He got out of his car, but we were able to put on our sign, "Please return to your vehicle, we have seen you and help is on the way." And we could see on the footage the man gets straight back into his car. We know it's much safer to be in your vehicle if you do break down or there's any other kind of emergency. So I have another video now, and this covers a couple of the topics, so I'll let it speak for itself. And this is something that happened just in October in the Burnley Tunnel, which is Victoria.
Good evening. A driver is lucky to be alive after their four-wheel drive was crushed against the wall of the Burnley Tunnel by a fuel tanker.
The terrifying collision shut the tunnel for an hour as emergency services cleaned up the mangled mess. Isabel Quinlan with this exclusive report.
A sudden manoeuvre was all it took for this drive to come to a crushing end in the Burnley Tunnel. It was around 9:15 when this tanker merged into the left lane and slammed into a Mitsubishi Pajero. Sparks and debris fly as it's wedged into the wall. Emergency services were on scene within minutes. Firefighters captured on the bonnet of the four-wheel drive as they navigate around the wreck. The tunnel was shut down as they slowly detached the squashed vehicle from the truck. Miraculously, the driver escaped without injuries, but their car was a mangled mess.
Transurban says it monitors the tunnel around the clock and had its crews on scene last night within 4 minutes. It added, while crash rates are low, incidents like this can easily be avoided.
It's asking motorists to avoid unnecessary lane changes in tunnels and high-speed areas. It's a simple behaviour that can make a real difference. Heavy towing machinery was brought in to remove the truck. The driver has been fined. Isabel Quinlan, 9 News.
It's rather chilling footage, isn't it? And I really don't like to think what would have happened had it been a smaller vehicle involved. It's a really good reminder that trucks, if you cannot see the eyes of a truck driver, they cannot see you. And we really rely on you all as instructors to continue to remind your young drivers about truck blind spots, but also not to be changing lanes in those high-speed tunnels. Following on from that video, sorry, do I press this? Oh, thank you. I do want to remind you that serious crashes in tunnels are very rare, so it's very unusual for me to have footage to share with you that's so recent. And we just know that they're safer road environments generally. So Transurban, our business is toll roads, and our key focus is operating them safely. And so that we continue to understand how safe our roads are, we work with MUARC, which is the Monash University Accident Research Centre, and they are a globally recognised benchmarking organisation, and they measure the safety on our roads. So we know across our Australian assets, our toll roads on aggregate are 2.25 times safer than other like roads, so that's other toll roads. So we have this two-layered, we know that toll roads are typically safer than other roads, and that is because there's less intersections, you are going in a straight line, and there's the dual carriageway. But then on top of that, we know Transurban roads are 2.25 times safer than other toll roads. If you look to the graph on the right, it's separating out the states, and on the left, the tallest bar is actually in New South Wales. So in New South Wales, our roads are 3.5 times as safe as like roads. A lot of this comes down to that safe systems approach, so the road design. And in New South Wales, I imagine a lot of our assets are newer, so that's why we're able to improve the safety aspects of them. So to continue to improve the safety of our roads, it's really important that we collaborate with with other people within the industry. So obviously government is a massive partner for us, industry bodies, so the Heavy Vehicles Association, Truck Drivers Associations, Learner Driver Training Associations, but then also our community groups. We also invest in road safety research. So this is a picture of the crash sled that's at the Neura Crash Test Centre. And if you've ever tried to say crash test half an hour into a speech, it is actually quite difficult to say. Crash test. So this is the sled that mimics real speed crashes, and the main focus of Neura is investigating restraints, particularly child restraints. They've also recently done a study, so if any of you are working with older drivers, they've done a study that shows the danger of putting additional cushions and supports for older drivers, which I was completely unaware of until I heard about the work that they were doing. Neura also have looked into motorcycle design, as most damage in motorcycle crashes occurs from the shape of, or the fuselage of the motorcycle impacting with the motorcycle rider. So they do some really interesting research. So we've had a long-term partnership with them, I think for at least 6 years, and they're over at Ramwick. So this is just a little bit of a snapshot of where we're going from here. So as I mentioned, we did the pilot in May. We've done a little bit of an analysis over the last couple of months. For the next 6 months, we're going to keep the same format, and we'd love you to help us promote this with your drivers. There are some sheets on the tables with the QR codes where they can sign up for the course. Working with the learner driver or the driver training associations for us is really important, and we'd be absolutely thrilled to still work with you throughout this. We're also going to think about what other groups we could work with, so potentially insurers or insurance governing bodies. And then after the 6 months, we'll reassess. So during that time, we'll reconsider what formats can we use, but come May next year, we'll do a bit of a reassessment. We'll gauge how much was that incentive, how many people could we attract with that win $100 incentive, and what else can we do to further develop the course. So this is a copy of the flyer that's on your tables, and there's 2 QR codes, and the second one is actually for feedback. So firstly, we'd love you to jump on and do the course if you haven't already done it. That is the QR code on the left. And then secondly, if you would like to provide feedback, it's just a 2-question survey that QR code takes you to. Anything that we can learn from you, because you are the people out on the road with the learner drivers, and we learned so much from talking to you initially. So the more driver trainers that we can hear back from, the better this course can be. As a driver trainer, if you sign up and do the course, you automatically also go in the draw for that monthly 10 $100 fuel vouchers. Thanks again, to everyone that supported us through the pilot. And have I got time? Okay, we've got one. I'm sorry if I went too fast, but we've got one video, and this is really talks to our incident detection system, which is a really critical part of saving lives. No, it should look like this one.
Well, they say cats have 9 lives, but stray kitten Leo mightn't have many of them left. His waltz along the West connects, leaving hearts in mouths and capturing one too.
He looks pretty relaxed now, nestled in the arms of his new human. But last month, the only warmth Leo the stray kitten could find would be in the engine bay of a recently parked car. Not so comfy when that car started moving through the West Connects.
Seeing that poor little cat running across the motorway might have been the most heart-stopping moment that I've seen.
Leo would chew through a clutch of his 9 lives in just a few seconds. From missing moving engine parts as he fell from the bay, to the cold concrete below. Then the first car dodged. Then the second. Then the relative sanctuary of the roadside where Leo would cower until found by Transurban's incident detection system.
It can actually pick up things like debris, pedestrians, stopped vehicles, and kittens.
The plan was to take Leo to care, but Operation Support Worker Amanda Correll was watching the monitors too.
I told them to turn the car around and bring him straight back here so I could take him.
But then Amanda had a mate who needed a mate.
When I saw Leo, I was like, oh my God, this is like perfect. She can...
Perfect.
Perfect.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
And he also made the car ride home with me, so that's another life.
At St Peters, Mike Dalton, 9 News.
Leo, you are blessed.
So no matter how many times you watch that video, you have your heart in your mouth every time. So thank you again for having me here to talk about the Toll Road Ready program. I'm really happy to answer any questions, and again, any road safety questions that I can't answer, we can take back to Karen. Thank you.
If you could stay around for a sec. Sorry, I'll just jump in there. Just a couple of questions I sort of thought myself,